Japan is not taking action to postpone its 2020 Olympics. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga said the government would postpone and schedule the July 24th to August 9th Games as they continue to work with the International Olympic Committee. His comments are concerned whether the Games can proceed as planned with the rapidly spreading virus, panicking financial markets and bringing business and social activity around the world to a standstill. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said on Tuesday that the group of 7 leaders had agreed to support a complete Olympics, but dodged questions about whether any of the leaders had brought up the possibility of postponing the event.
It began with events happening in empty stadiums. Then, leagues around the world, including the NBA, NHL, MLB, and MLS, suspended their seasons. And then came the endless list of cancellations, the most recent in Canada being the Women's World Hockey Championships in Halifax, the World Figure Skating Championships in Montreal, and multiple World Curling Championships. So with all this insanity and the Olympics scheduled to start July 24th, where does Japan fit into all of this? Well, as of March 17th, Japan is highlighted on the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website as an area with sustained community transmission. That means people have been infected with the virus, but no one really knows how, and people are still getting sick. The country has a level 2 travel health notice, which means it's recommended older adults and those with chronic medical conditions to postpone their travels to Japan. Having said that, Japan's threat is lower than countries like China, Iran, and Italy, who have widespread transmissions of the virus and are all at level 3 notice, which recommends avoiding all non-essential travel. So it goes without saying Japan is working to contain the virus. Volunteer training for the Games has been postponed, the torch relay has been scaled back, and a few test events have been cancelled. Japan's Prime Minister already requested schools across the country to shut down, and many companies are encouraging employees to work from home. Despite sitting tight and maintaining strong messaging that the Games will still start July 24th, the world's evolving response to the pandemic has forced the International Olympic Committee to respond. In an official communication, the IOC admits COVID-19 is affecting the preparation for Tokyo 2020, but considering there's still months to go before the Games, they say there's no need for any drastic decisions at this stage, and that any speculation at this moment would be counterproductive. But one of the biggest issues in this Olympic question mark is qualification. To date, 57% of athletes have qualified for the Games, but canceled events and increasing travel bans are making things complicated for the 43% who haven't. The IOC said they're working with international and national sport organizations to make adaptations to the process. For example, they're considering using current world rankings or recent infield results if eventual qualification events cannot take place. And all these fixes have to happen on a sport-by-sport basis, since each of the 33 sports scheduled for Tokyo have different qualification processes. But while the IOC works on making the Olympics happen around COVID-19, insiders and media have been throwing around other potential realities. Longtime IOC member Dick Pound said the Games would more than likely be cancelled than postponed, and that decision would need to happen by May. But then Japan's Olympic minister mentioned the country's contract only specifies the Games have to be held in 2020, suggesting they could postpone it in the calendar year. Others say that situation is unlikely because it'd present huge logistical conflicts, especially for the Games' biggest broadcasters. For example, NBC, whose broadcast schedule will be filled with other sports later in the year, and they've already sold over $1 billion in ad revenue. If the IOC is forced to cancel the Games, it wouldn't be unprecedented, but it's only ever happened because of war in 1916 and again in 1940 and 44. And then there's the fact, if the 2020 Games were canceled, insurers would lose billions. And the losses will only grow as the decision to cancel drags on. Then there's the fact neither the Olympics or the Paralympics have ever been postponed. So the truth is, exactly how the coronavirus will affect the Olympics is still up in the air. But under the current conditions, and probably until the 11th hour, the Games are starting July 24th.